Let's start in Cleveland, where fans were drinking after the game last night, not to celebrate the outcome. First time on Sunday Night Football for the Browns since 2008. A lot of anticipation. They had lost at home by 30 points in Week 1. But you know what? They were competitive. It looked good. They had a chance. They were down at the goal line with 43 seconds left. First and goal. And 3 straight passes, setting up the fourth down play with another pass. Chris, Freddie Kitchens admitted after the game he should have run the ball down there, and he shouldn't have run the ball on that 4th and 9 play earlier in the quarter when they went with a draw play.
Right.
Look, if it works, you're a genius.
Yes.
When it gains 2 yards, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the pelts on the wall to justify doing something outside the box like that. And, you know, he was very candid last night in his post-game press conference, and he was going to take his lumps, and he did. And we don't know what kind of a coach he's going to be.
No,
and I think last night he was a guy who's a little bit over his skis.
Yeah, well, again, I think their whole team was a little over their skis to a degree. I mean, the Rams, they're used to that setting, that environment. They're a battle-tested football team. Well, whether we like it or not, they find ways to win ugly games too, even when it is a 20-13, 13-10 type of game. But to Freddie Kitchens, hey, yes, first off, would have loved to have seen him run the ball down there. I mean, running the ball was kind of the theme of their night. You mentioned it, a 4th and 9. Yeah, that was kind of a bonehead call there. It's one thing to run the ball on 4th and 4, 4th and 5, and you think you might catch him, but 9 yards, that's a little much. The play calling, in the red zone, certainly a little questionable, especially in a night when we saw them not be able to throw the ball really consistently well all night long. And then, of course, I think the biggest reason they could never get in a rhythm of the passing game is because of number 56 and number 99. I mean, the Rams, the Browns, we worried about their O-line, and it kind of showed their real issues against an elite defensive line last night where, yes, they had to call the game to protect their O-line because Aaron Donald and Dante Fowler were going to make a mess of things.
Yeah, the F up the play statistic running wild last night for Donald and Fowler. Right? And I can't help but wonder, that sequence at the end of the game, first and goal from about the 4 or the 5, 6 yard line. Did Freddie Kitchens not run there because he's thinking about the 4th and 9 play and it looks stupid, so I'm not going to run it down here.
Right.
We weren't able to execute it because it's never the play call, it's the execution.
Yeah.
It was a good play call. We just executed it poorly, so I'm not going to trust my running game in this spot because timeouts weren't the issue.
No.
They could have run it just to take a shot there. When people are expecting a pass, and it's confusing to me why we didn't see them run it one time.
No.
And he admitted he should have at least run it one time in that series.
Yeah, no, they should have. It just, again, I think this is an offense that's trying to find their way, and even last night. Well, the thing that jumps out to me again, unlike the Jet game, it was a defensive game plan for the Rams that this is something I wonder about the Browns. Are they a little too big play oriented? Because they didn't let them have the big play last night. For the most part, it looked like they kind of played zone coverage. We're going to keep Odell in front of us. We're going to keep Jarvis Landry in front of us. Do you have enough cute ways and, consistent surgical ways in the pass game to get 5 yards, 8 yards, 5 to where all of a sudden, okay, we do need to play man-to-man. We do need to change our game plan. Browns offense never made the Rams uncomfortable last night. I think that's the one thing that jumped out to me. Wade Phillips got to kind of stick with his game plan throughout the night, and they kind of hung tough and weathered the storm, and of course won the football game.
And part of the challenge for Baker Mayfield, and I don't want to harp on the whole Big 12 defenses stink.
Yeah, but they stink.
But when you are able at the college level to just impose your will and throw the ball and do what you want to do and
dance in the pocket,
throw it down the field, throw it down the field, throw it down the field, and that's not there.
Yeah.
Can you harness that, I'll take what they're giving me? When you're used to being a gunslinger and all of a sudden they're giving you a pea shooter, you don't want that. You want to be the gunslinger.
I agree, Mike. I mean, I think he is kind of finding his way there. That's why we've seen, some dumb interceptions through the first few weeks that are over-aggressive. I think it's why we see him a little jumpy in the pocket. I mean, we just showed a clip on TV there. I think that was a perfect example of one of the issues with Baker Mayfield through the first 3 weeks. No pressure around him from time to time. and yet he's not sure because the first guy's not open, and he ends up panicking in the pocket and moving, and it leads to more issues in general. But yeah, they're in I think as an offense finding their way, and they got to find ways, just like we talk about with any great offense, right? What's your thing? What is your thing that defenses have to go, oh, we have to stop that? Maybe they just need to find more ways to throw Odell Beckham Jr. the ball and just go off of that, because that's an issue last night too. How do we not really get him involved in the game? A play here, a play there. They have to find what works for them, and I think they're kind of in the process of still doing it.
Get him in the groove early, because if you don't get him in the groove, it's the way it used to be with Randy Moss. Get him in the groove early, feed him early, and have him engaged. Otherwise, maybe he checks out a little bit. And look, it's going to be a challenge for Freddie Kitchens. And after the game, Baker Mayfield got a little bit testy with reporters when he was asked about some of the decisions made by his head coach. Here's Mayfield.
I mean, I know what you guys are going to try and do is talk about the play calling, but you know what? That's why I said execution's the most important thing. Whatever we have called, we got to do our job.
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, execution. 4th and 9, good play call, bad execution.
Yeah.
And, Baker Mayfield's in a tough spot. He's essentially admitted, and he was interviewed by Mike Tirico for Football Night in America, that he was a Freddie Kitchens guy.
Right.
So you can't criticize the coach that you wanted to be the coach because you gave him the seal of approval. They could have had Kevin Stefanski, who's doing a pretty good job calling an offense in Minnesota right now, but they went with Freddie Kitchens because Baker Mayfield was comfortable with him. But now we're seeing Freddie Kitchens, who's got to grow into this role, understand the concept of feeding Odell Beckham Jr., designing plays that'll work for him, having that one thing that you do, and not just this kind of we talk all the time about defenses having the full offseason to learn what a guy did and figure out how to counter it.
Yeah.
And as the team, you've got to anticipate it like the Chiefs are doing.
Yeah, right.
The Browns, I don't feel like they're anticipating what the defense is going to take away, and they're countering with something else. And as a result, we're seeing, as you said, Baker Mayfield seem nervous and rattled when his first read isn't open because he doesn't know, he's not comfortable going. And I don't want to bash Baker Mayfield here. But as a team, you've got to be able to bust through the ceiling that a defense has put over you, and we've not seen them do that against the Titans or the Rams in the first 3 weeks.
No,
of the season.
It's just been a series of the first 3 weeks of the year have been a series of just really big plays. Almost really, that's the way I look at it. It's been we scored a touchdown, we scored some points, but it's always a huge play. It's not a lot of 8 plays really well put together drive. Gosh, it was a handful of runs and some pinpoint passing with some great schematics that got guys wide open. We're not seeing that. The Jets game, we saw Odell Beckham Jr. take off from whatever, but in between we saw a lot of okay, that's good. Ooh, that's not so good. So they're a work in progress. They're a young team. They're not battle tested. They had some injuries last night, and they played a team that is clearly one of the better teams in all of football in the Rams.
As you were doing a little sound effects thing, I felt very bad for whoever has to do closed captioning.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.